Do you like surprises? If you do, you're going to just love The Accountant. Full of surprises from frame one onwards, and grateful. Ben Affleck seems to have really been kind of made for this role. And we don't know too much in the beginning. He's an accountant for bad guys. Not the kind who kind of balances and makes up the books, but the guy who discovers what's wrong with the books. So the forensic kind who discovers who's stealing from who, etc. And in the middle of all this, we also know that he's been autistic as a child. Uh, Therefore, uh, intimacy issues and stuff about fabrics and all the things that go with being autistic. He's now decided to take an assignment with a prosthetic firm, a firm that makes prosthetics and devices, etc., for consumers. It's headed by John Lithgow, who's the maverick inventor. And his junior accountant, Anna Kendrick, has discovered there's a hole, a money hole, running into some millions. And they call Ben Affleck in. There's it's supposed to be a kind of a safe job, and his advisor, who's this woman with the sexy British electronic voice, the person who sets up all his assignments, as she says, this should be pretty good after all the kind of bad guys he's been doing business with. And Ben Affleck's comment is, well, everybody's got secrets, and we shall discover what happens further. While, of course, he's taking up this assignment, J.K. Simmons, who's the head of the FBI branch dealing with the accounting side, the forensic side, forensic crimes, he's getting hot on the trail of the accountant as well, and has a lovely assistant who's Cynthia Addai-Robinson, who's the rough kind of accountant, as we discover. And she's been put on the trail of Ben Affleck as well. We also have John Bernthal, who's a tough private mercenary kind of guy. He's also closing in on Ben Affleck, and it just adds to the general fun as Ben handles this assignment, uh, manages to see what's wrong or not, uh, and we discover what's been going on. The interesting part, I thought, another interesting part was the whole aspect of how he was brought up by his dad, who's basically Robert C. Trevelyan, and I hope I pronounced that right. Being an autistic kid, he was offered a chance to grow up in another environment, where they kind of nurture him, and adapt the environment to what he would like. And pretty early on, Robert, being an army guy, makes a choice that, look, the real world is not like that. And Ben is going to have to learn to adapt to that world. And we then figure out what kind of tough love does Robert provide for his kids. So lots of secrets, lots of fun. Anna Kendrick is excellent as usual in her role. I think very few women can play the vulnerable woman with kind of a lot of strength inside her. And Anna, right from the days of Up in the Air, has done that just so excellently. Ben Affleck, I mean, this role suits him to a T. He doesn't have to emote much. He's this silent guy, uh, doesn't have to break out into smiles, doesn't have to talk too much either, but just kind of do his stuff. He's very good. He shines through in terms of his movements, the way, I mean, little touches like, or things like that, which he does all the time in the film. There's this little rhyme which he plays to himself, Solomon Grundy, and it all just fits in perfectly. Does the movie make complete logical sense? Can it actually happen? No, not by a long shot. The body count that piles up as Ben Affleck is going through his case makes it impossible that the police, the FBI wouldn't have been on it. They wouldn't have tracked him down earlier. It's just doesn't make sense. Yet, it is fantastic to watch, a real treat. It's extremely pacey. You never know what's coming next at you. And like I said, there's surprises all through. I'm going to go with a extremely generous 8 on 10 for this film. I was even tempted to do a 9. That's how much I enjoyed the film. But it was great fun, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it too.